On today's episode, we're talking about ways we can navigate mental health while building our brand. Stick around for today's episode with Kimberly King. Hola creators, I'm Yesenia Bocaneira, founder of Focus and Bloom Studios. I'm a photographer turned marketing strategist who took a leap of faith, moved over 3,000 miles away from home with one camera and one heavy suitcase filled with dreams. If you're a creative soul and dream maker, this podcast is for you. Here I share actionable tips and tactics on marketing, business, and mindset to help you grow and up-level your business with purpose and lots of joy, one action item at a time. Get comfortable and let's get started. This is the Focus and Bloom Podcast. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Focus and Bloom Podcast, where we bring you inspiring conversations and share tips and tactics to help you grow and up-level your business. So if this is the first time you're tuning in, consider subscribing so you don't miss out on any episodes. Joining me today is Kimberly King. Kim is an intuitive brand coach and designer for spiritual entrepreneurs. She works with coaches, creatives, and healers to help them build an impactful and profitable brand. She also integrates an inclusive and trauma-informed approach to her coaching and continues to educate herself on creating a safer space for her clients and community. Kim, welcome to the Focus and Bloom Podcast. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm very happy to bring you here today. This episode is going to be airing in May, which is Mental Health Awareness Month in the United States. So I think this is such a mental health is unfortunately a topic that is not often discussed and is somewhat like a taboo. And entrepreneurs are not the exception to unfortunately experience this. So before we dive into mental health and how we can navigate business, can you tell me a little bit about you and how you got into coaching?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm an intuitive branding coach and graphic and web designer. And I started my business about 5 years ago now. Originally, I started as a health coach and a virtual assistant. And from there, I moved into graphic and web design and business coaching. And from there, my business evolved into where it's at today. But yeah, I did start my journey as a health coach after going through my own obstacles with my physical and mental health and discovering coaching and how impactful it was. So that's what led me to get into coaching. And from there, I began integrating the other parts of my business that I absolutely love, which is the branding side of things.
Beautiful. And I think that especially when it comes to coaching, when you are sharing something that comes from the heart, it really makes that coaching experience even more authentic and that relationship that you can build with your audience, with your clients, even stronger and more successful. So entrepreneurs juggle so many things. Sometimes at the same time, we juggle we wear many hats, and this can easily be very, very overwhelming. And while there isn't any cookie cutter solution when it comes to how each person navigates and how each person lives their own entrepreneurial journey, how is it that we could navigate or be mindful of how we can navigate mental health while still running a business? Do you have any tips or any research that you can share with our audience?
Yeah, absolutely. I love this question. And I feel like there's so many things that I want to share because I really believe, like you said, mental health is not talked about enough. And I really want to, part of my mission behind my business is to really normalize talking about mental health and helping people get the support that they really need. So when it comes to being an entrepreneur, entrepreneurship and owning your business is challenging enough on its own. When you also add in all of the mental health challenges that we can deal with along the way, it can be a lot. So one thing that I always encourage people is to ask for help, to get support when you need it. And there is so much stigma still around mental health. There's been a lot of progress with that, which is amazing. And it's started to become more accepted to talk about and to be open about. but there is still a lot of stigma around it. And it can be really scary for people to speak up and ask for help and get the support that they need. So I really want to encourage people, if they are struggling, to ask for help.
I think that it's important that it's important to remind people that again, there isn't a cookie cutter solution for everybody, because each person's experience is very unique. So it's good to recognize that, hey, there's something off, and it's okay that to go ahead and ask for help in however that might be. So better than anybody else would know how to or whom to reach out to for that help. So what, in addition to asking for help, like anything that you feel has helped you as you've navigated your 5-year business journey, anything like any rituals that you've come across or anything of that sort that has helped you and even your clients as well, that you can share?
Yeah, definitely. So one thing that I definitely encourage my clients to do and entrepreneurs to do, especially if you do find that you are struggling a little bit more with your mental health, is to take some time off. And I know that can be really hard, especially when we are so passionate about our businesses and we want to grow them and we love working with our clients. But it's so important to take that time away from your business and disconnect and take time to do things for you to really support your mental health. So that's definitely been one thing that I'm still working on this, I'll be honest. And it is something that I still struggle with because I do love my business and I love working with my clients and I love the work that I do. But I know that it makes such a huge difference, even if it's just one day off a week where you take it completely off and you're not working on your business, you're not on social media, just giving yourself that space. And also creating that space for yourself each day as well. That's been something that has made a huge impact on my mental health. And this could look like giving yourself an hour in the morning, or it could be 5 minutes a day. It's whatever feels manageable for you right now at this moment, because I know everybody's lifestyle is different. Some people have kids and families and pets and other jobs and things that they're juggling. So finding what works for you and what is manageable, but giving yourself at least 5 minutes. I definitely encourage taking at least an hour each day for you, and doing some things that support your mental health. So for me, meditating is a huge thing that I try to do every day. I don't do it every single day, but I try to be as consistent as I can be because I know how much of an impact it has on my energy and how I show up in my business when I take that time to meditate. Movement is another huge one. So I try to be as consistent as I can with exercise, but even just going for a walk outside around the block, like taking 5 or 10 minutes. Being in nature is another one too that is so incredibly powerful and impactful for your mental health. Along with movement, definitely nutrition. So being mindful about what you're eating and taking the time to figure out what foods fuel your body and what foods make you not feel not so great, because definitely food has such an impact on our mental health. So taking some time to figure out what that looks like for you and starting to integrate that into your day. And definitely simplifying. So
Ooh, I like
something
that.
yeah. So
Yes.
I personally love the concept of minimalism, and it's something that I integrate into my life and business. And there's such a huge impact that clutter has on our mental health, and not just in the physical sense, but taking a look at your business and taking a look at your offers. Do you have 20 different offers? Do you have 10 different lead magnets or sales pages? Do things feel really cluttered in your processes? And how you're working with your clients, and figure out ways that you can really streamline and simplify so that you can take some of that pressure off of your energy and just create more space. So that's definitely one that I fully believe in and recommend. And another thing would be creating a support system. So this one is really, really impactful and makes such a huge difference. And especially as entrepreneurs, where it can feel really lonely at times, because oftentimes, especially in the beginning, you might not have a team. You might not know many other people who are also entrepreneurs and have their own business. So the journey can feel really lonely. So having other people that you can connect with and who understand what you're going through and can be there to support you, people who believe in you and your dreams, is so, so helpful. And part of that support system can also look like having a therapist or a coach, whatever kind of support you need at that time, is really impactful for your mental health.
I'm so glad that you mentioned all of these, and these are very helpful. I love that you highlighted space and making space, because this can look in a variety of ways. Space for yourself, your work environment, bringing that simplicity of how does your work environment look like? Do you have a lot of clutter in your desk, for example? As simple as that. I love that you mentioned the simplifying your offer, because just think about it. When you go to a restaurant, you have all these options. You get overwhelmed. Just go straight to the point. What is the very best that you can offer? And then really that's going to help you, build, give you more confidence too, because it's less things. Those are less things that you need to memorize and remember and sell. So that will give you that confidence and that confidence boost that you need. But, it's less is more. Sometimes it helps. We don't have to overwhelm ourselves with a lot of things, and it is normal that as a entrepreneur, especially starting out, there's a lot of things that we're learning. I myself, when I started my business, I didn't actually take a business class until my last semester of grad school, and I had already started a business. I had closed my first business, but I had learned a lot. I made a lot of mistakes, and I did learn a lot too from that experience. But it would have been helpful if I had had that opportunity, that educational. It would have been really helpful for me to have had that opportunity. But, other things that you've mentioned, movement, nature, nutrition is so key, because if you're not eating the right things, then that's sort of going to create this domino effect. If you are hungry, then if you're only opting for quick snacks, then later on you're going to be hungry, then your mind is not going to be clear. You're not going to have that really good energy that you need. I'm going to go back to that space is also like capitalizing on your best time of the day, your most productive times of the day. If you're an evening person, then you're probably not going to wake up at 5 in the morning. If you have the luxury of picking when can you work during the day, and that you're not a morning person, then you can, part of that self-care routine that you can create is to capitalize on your best and most productive times, so that you can then use the other times for whatever it is that you need to do, whether that is if you have another part-time job or another job that you need to do, or you want to work out, or you want to just go meditate, do a walk, or whatever that might be, or if you have children, if you have pets that you need to take care of, you can just capitalize on what would work best for you, for your life, your routine, because it doesn't look the same for anybody else. And this is just normal, no pandemic. I'll be adding the pandemic. It's just a different whole other level.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Yeah. I love that you mentioned that, because I feel like it's so easy to get caught up in, and this was definitely me earlier on in my business. I felt like I had to meditate every day for an hour, and then I had to work out every day, and I had to get up at 5 a.m. and I had to do all of these different things. And if I wasn't doing that, then I wasn't, taking care of myself, or I wasn't going to be quote unquote successful. And the thing is really finding, like you said, what works for you, what fits your lifestyle, what fits the times of the day that you are in your best energy, the times of the day that you have available, because everybody's lifestyle looks different. So really figuring out what works for you, and also finding something that is sustainable, that you can do long term. Because for me, like getting up at 5 a.m. every single day and meditating for an hour every single day it's not sustainable for me, and I'm probably not going to stick to it. So I'm not really going to get the benefits of it. So figuring out what that looks like and knowing that you can try different things out, right? Like there's different kinds of meditation. So if you are like, I can't sit still for even 5 minutes in silence, I just can't do it, then try a few different things. There's guided meditations. You also don't have to sit still too while you're meditating. So
Right.
there's a bunch of different ways that you can still get the benefits of these amazing tools and also make it work for you.
Oh, I completely agree. I remember last year, towards the end of the year, I was so overwhelmed with everything that taking a break, I felt guilty for taking a break because I was just so overwhelmed with things that I needed to do. And I knew that I knew that I was so disappointed in myself for letting it get to that point that, one of my goals for this year is to make sure to prioritize self-care, because if I'm prioritizing self-care, however that might look, that's gonna show in the way that you are showing up on social media, the way that you're showing up for yourself, the way that you're showing up for your clients. And it's gonna flow much better. So
Yeah, absolutely.
as we're starting to talk a little bit about like the business side of things. So how can we tie all this together? Mental health, navigating that, and still building a personal brand.
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to your mental health and building a personal brand, something to remember is that, especially as the face of your brand, like you are the person behind your brand, especially when you are a creative entrepreneur, you work with clients, how you show up makes a huge difference. So when you are taking care of your mental health, it's going to impact how you show up and the energy that other people feel from you. And if you want to make your brand sustainable, it requires supporting you and your mental health. Because when you are feeling your best, you're going to be more creative and have more ideas and be able to show up more fully for yourself and your clients. And that's not to say that you aren't going to have off days. That's totally
Right.
normal. We are human.
Exactly.
And I think we should normalize feeling emotions and feeling all the emotions. And it's perfectly okay to take time off when you need it. So when it comes to building your brand and creating a brand that is sustainable and scaling your brand, it requires supporting your mental health. It's an integral part of that because you are an integral part of your brand. And when you are feeling your best and taking care of your mental health, you're going to be able to show up more fully.
I completely agree with that. It's definitely part of the whole entrepreneurial experience. We cannot leave that aside because if we forget about prioritizing that our mental health, and it's not because we're selfish. It's like we need this. We need this because this is just normal life. A lot of things happen and a lot of things can make us feel overwhelmed. Now, adding the stress of, running a business, running a sustainable, successful business, adding a pandemic and whatever else life throws at us, it's how can we handle this? And it's really important to listen to our bodies, listen to how we're feeling, and trying to recognize what are the things that are starting to make us feel uncomfortable. And then that's going to help us, determine what might be that best course of action. And if we don't know what the best course of action is, then like you mentioned, and we talked about this earlier on, ask for help. Ask for
Mm-hmm.
help. And it's common to feel. It's common that, especially at the initial state of or stages of your building your business, it can often feel like this is a lonely experience because you might not relate to, you might have other friends that are not in the same path of building a business, so they won't be able to necessarily give you some feedback or the type of feedback that you're looking for. And then, look for other communities that you feel that can probably support you in that sense, whether that is a local community or even an online community. I know that, and where a lot of places, a lot of different countries and cities are, where they are at in relation to COVID, it varies. So, I've been able to, something that I've been able to thankfully find from this experience on last year is I was able to build a small network of people from different parts of the country and out of the country, where we're like on the same boat. We're struggling. We're like, not struggling in the sense that, not doing things, but it's just, we're going through the same thing, the same motions of, we're building a business. We are going through this pandemic. There's a lot of uncertainty, and it's okay. Let's talk about it. And we cheer each other. We keep ourselves accountable. And when I have these conversations, and after we have these conversations, I feel like so much better. And I make it part of my self-care routine on Fridays. I only work half day Fridays. And then the afternoon is my self-care afternoon. And I put there whatever I need to do. And it's made a huge impact in just whatever, 3 months.
I love
Definitely
that.
prioritize yourself, prioritize your health, your self-care routine, whatever that might look like, because it's going to help you so much in so many ways. Kim, okay, I think so. Let's go ahead and start wrapping up this interview. I think this is such an important topic that needs to be to continuously be talked about, because it's important, and we definitely need to take away that stigma, that taboo of what mental health is. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to prioritize and be aware that mental health is important. So, as we're wrapping this up, before we wrap this up entirely, there's a lightning round that I like to do with all of my guests, and this is just to end on a fun note, and it's random questions. So, are you ready?
Yes.
All right. First one: coffee or tea?
Oh, a great question. I love the taste and smell of coffee, but my nervous system doesn't love it, so I'm going to have to choose tea.
Tea.
Yeah.
Which tea? Which was your favorite?
I love London fogs.
Oh, I haven't tried that. I like peach during the
it's so
day
good.
and chamomile at night. It's like perfect.
Nice.
80s music or 90s music? Which one?
Oh gosh, these are hard. I think I'll have to go with 90s. Yeah.
90s. I like the 80s. What
It's
is
hard.
it is hard.
Yeah, it's hard to choose.
Yeah. What is your superpower?
Oh, that's a great question. I think I would have to say what I consider my superpower is helping people turn their vision into reality and feeling empowered to show up as the fullest expression of who they are.
That's beautiful. I love it. Oh, I love it. That's so beautiful. And last but not least, how can people connect with you?
Yeah, for sure. So I am on Facebook and Instagram, but mostly Instagram at Kimberly King Coaching. And my website is kimberlyking.ca.
Perfect. Kim, thank you so very much for joining me on today's podcast episode. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk about something that's super important, that needs to be spoken even more so.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Jasenia. It's been amazing, and I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. And everybody, thank you so much for tuning in on today's episode. Be sure to check out today's show notes at focusandbloomstudios.com/show notes. And don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss out any of the upcoming episodes. And if you've already done so, leave a review and share it with everybody. Thanks so much, and I'll see you on the next time. Take care.